There's a couple common variations with a triple Gila, double Sleipnir, that sort of thing, with a little bit higher damage output. But it seems like a lot of people really are brawling in, and it's sort of strange to set up that way, given that these really sturdy armor tanks have been in the tournament since the start.
Yeah, it is a pretty interesting decision. Yeah, particularly against this composition, but I don't know. I could see the brawling in being the. I think a lot of time when we end up with kite setups versus kite setups, being aggressive and trying to get on top can be a really good move. Like if it's Helas versus Helas and they're trying to, get more damage than their opponents by closing in and getting tackles, that makes a little more sense. In this situation, it seems like it definitely just exposes you to all of the fearless damage and Ewar, which if you can work around, you're better off trying. I wonder, in this match if they would have at least given a shot to breaking the Proteus tank from range before going in. But they do have some big limitations. The Vexers don't have a lot of drones they can reload. So if they try that and then the smart bombs clear some of those drones off, they may give up any chance of breaking that logistics at any point in the match. So.
Interestingly, though, with the smart bombs, it's definitely something to consider, especially with the drone-heavy metas that we've seen. But a lot of the popular drone ships do have an EHP bonus for their drones. So at first glance, you might say a couple of large smart bombs would clear off a flight of heavy drones, but not from the Gila, which, if I'm not mistaken, has a 500% bonus to the tank of those drones. It's essentially like, there we go, finally down.
Nice
but it's
job,
essentially
Fearless.
like trying to kill an assault frigate with 2 smart bombs, which is a lengthy process.
Absolutely. Anyway, nice match. Congratulations, Fearless Empire, winning with a pretty bizarre setup. Good job to them, and we'll be back in just a few with Waffles versus Mortus.
Rape is your fucking primary! Rape is the fucking primary! Everyone fucking rape him now!
Go for Tower Wars, free for all on Tower Wars.
Whether you're into gate camping or jet can mining, you'll find Eve's best music mix at Eve Radio. Visit www.eve-radio.com today.
Do you like waffles? I like waffles.
I like waffles.
Do you like waffles?
Yes, I like waffles.
And pancakes and French toast.
Hello again, I'm CCP Rise here with Sir Squeebles, and we are in the middle of day 4 of the Alliance tournament. We're about to see Waffles fight Mortus, and this looks like a pretty brawly match. What do you think of what we have on the field, Squeebles?
We have a near mirror with 3 Ishtars and then 3 Vexors on both sides, but on the side of Mortus, we've got 3 Vexor Navy issues, whereas Waffles has opted for 3 Vexors so that they can bring along an EOS. So a little more substantial tank on the Waffles team, but a little more DPS coming out of Mortus. We'll have to see if lacking those links sacrifices too much tank.
Yeah, some kind of interesting variations on what mostly are extremely similar setups here, having the drone cruiser core with the Oneros on both sides, but then differences in the support they've chosen, going with the Tristans on the Morty side, and then making sure to pick up that command ship on the Waffle side. Both teams came in at max range. We're underway now, and let's have a look at what drones they drop. It looks like Mortus is dropping close range drones, but bouncers coming out of a lot of the Waffle ships.
That's definitely the better pick. You see now a drone horde of augmented hammerheads, some hobgoblins coming off the support as well, headed for Waffles, but it's going to take time for those to get there, whereas Waffles is already laying down some serious pain.
They are, but none of that pain so far, causing any real big problems for Mortus. You don't actually see reps active towards any of their ships, but even without reps, they're doing just fine. You see Nero's just boosting back some shields. He's likely to be one of the first targets. No, they're going after an Ishtar. Mr. Paro looks like, and the Vexor Navy issue and Tonto. It's really interesting they've split here. I wonder why they're doing that.
Well, if you look, it looks like the Ishtars are damped out right now. I don't know how effective those unbonus damps probably off those Tristans are going to be, but it might force them to pick targets of opportunity, or maybe they're struggling with the assist mechanic. It could be a number of things.
In the meantime, the Geckos coming over from the Mortus ships are starting to arrive on the Waffle side. You can see some damage starting to come in on their Ishtars, but for now, Logistics having no problem keeping them alive. While Mortu's struggling a bit. They have 3 ships in really low armor.
Yeah, Kirkra and the Oneros, though, doing a really good job of managing reps right now. He's kept everybody fairly comfortable, although Time Watcher and the VNI is now dropping pretty low. I would definitely start to get nervous. Those VNIs can fit a pretty substantial buffer tank, but without an EOS, the resist profile is not going to be ideal. He is going into structure now, and if they lose that, that's going to be a significant amount of damage that they've mitigated.
Yeah, he's just hanging on, and down he goes. First blood over to Waffles. In the meantime, actually, Waffles, shout out to my boy Sis7, about to go down first for Waffles in an Ishtar. He's hanging in there barely, catching graps from their Oneros, and actually pulling back now. So he was getting really, really low, but looks like he might be doing okay. And in the meantime, Morty's still taking a lot of damage across several of their ships.
Yeah, and another VNI going down, and Tonto Mintot is now in low armor. I really don't think this Oneros is going to be able to keep him up. And those VNIs, they really do represent a huge chunk of damage. Now that their drones have finally made it over there, those Geckos are going to be really smashing these Ishtars. The Ishtars are doing a fairly good job on the Waffle side of trying to mitigate with some speed, and that can be effective against Geckos, but with the velocity bonus on the Vexor Navy hull, those Geckos are still going to be putting out some pretty serious hurt. And now both VNIs going down almost at the same time.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you also saw one of the Mortus Ishtars disappear. That was actually a boundary violation. Alake Pisakin or something made it all the way out to 126k in his Ishtar. So that's definitely one of the risks you run when you're trying to kite around with these drone ships, and got a little too far away there.
It looks like Mortus is sort of, it's like a synchronized swimming, only of disappointment, as this Ishtar of Mr. Paro is taking huge damage. Grash, Norlisk is also low. Waffles at this point is probably just having a laugh. They're splitting their damage and still killing these Ishtars. Looking at this now, I mean, obviously there are tons of factors at play. The drone choice, while I do agree with using geckos on the VNI, the amount of time it took them to close that distance was huge. Mainly in my mind, it comes down to this EOS pick on the Waffle side and how much sturdier the tanks are on those Ishtars. I mean, even the Vexers, which I didn't really see take a whole lot of damage, they weren't really threatened just because that EOS can so substantially buff up the tank. So I think that was a good investment to downgrade to the Vexers and bring a command ship along.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that has a lot to do with their success here. And like you say, I think the drone choice is huge as well. The time it takes, the amount of damage that gets mitigated as the close range drones try to chase these kiting ships around the arena is really significant. And all that time, the bouncers are just plugging away, able to switch targets quickly as they need to, and able to apply the entire time. Mordu's team getting just chewed up, finished off here in their synchronized swim as it ends. And Nero's going down now, and just a couple ships left. And Waffle's actually going to get through this one without losing a single ship. Really good job by their logistics pilot as well. I feel like that should be said.
Yeah, they piloted well. The Oneros obviously on the Mortis side was under a little bit more pressure, and he handled it well based on just looking at it. But that's not to say Waffles didn't do the same. It just wasn't maybe as dramatic. Obviously, they brought a Dragoon, which is awesome. I immediately was cheering for them for that. But just real quick before this last Ishtar goes down, I mean, why opt for the Maledictions and not the Tristans, which can project drone damage along with the rest of your team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it depends on what they're expecting to use them for. If they're looking for more of a tackle role and less of a support, like damage role, the Maledictions look a little nicer. Or I don't know if they're looking to use them as anti-support against something like the Tristans. Maybe it's better because they're faster and have to put themselves not quite as close. But I'm not sure. It's a good question. And I was looking originally at the setups. Like the Tristans really had to do something to make a difference, because I felt like it was kind of the Tristans against an EOS somehow, even though it was really just the Vexor Navy issue switch. But anyway, good job to Waffles. They win in really good fashion here. So that'll do it for this one. We'll be back in a few with Godfathers versus Afterlife. Hey again, welcome back to the Alliance Tournament Losers Bracket, where one team in every match is going home for good. In this match, it will be either the Godfathers or the Afterlife. And I'm CCP Rise here, Mr. Squeebles. Squeebles, what have these teams brought? Something you like a lot, right?
Yeah, they've brought the Godfathers, have fielded my favorite Alliance tournament ship of all time, and that is, of course, the Navy Dominics. Oh, sorry, that's Afterlife and the Navy Dominixes.
Yeah.
They're, of course, going to win because Navy Dominix is so much DPS. They are armor fit. They do have an EOS. They have a Celestis and a Blackbird for all of your E-War needs, paired with an Oneros for some reps. They do have a really nice support wing. I won't scoff at that. They've got 2 Maulus, 2 Heretics, a Tower, and a Merlin, and we are off.
We are off. Drones are down from those Navy Dummies. Of course, the most likely reason for them bringing the Navy Dummies is that they're 1 point less. If they don't feel the tracking and optimal bonus is important on the normal Dominics, they can go down 1 point and get a Navy Dummy. Wow, Damps for days. You can see the Godfathers team not having fun trying to lock back against this Afterlife team for now. But Celeste is still taking some damage for Afterlife, while Godfathers doesn't seem to be taking any damage at all.
As a huge credit to the Afterlife, and I'm trying to suppress my hatred of the hull to get to the center of the matter here, but these Navy Dommies dropped geckos. They did not try and be normal Dominixes. They